Hello everyone, welcome, Spencer here. Today I've been playing around with my Merfolk deck, and so I thought I would take a moment to talk to you guys about it, some of the cards I'm waiting for, the amount of lands, a few deck building things and bits and bobs that I've done within it to, I guess, help inform, educate people out there. I know there's a lot of like deck building templates, air quotes templates, formulas, rules that you should follow. I'm ready to tell you that they're all BS. Don't follow any rules. Just do what you want to do, and if it doesn't work, then you've learned something, and so therefore you go and tweak it. So maybe the rules and formulas do apply, but hey, the point is be creative. So yeah, what have I done? I've done a Kumena deck. I was tossing up between Kumena and Thasios, but Thasios, you play that as your commander at the table and you're going to get some instant hate, because obviously it's known CDH card. Plus obviously once you start playing that, you're like, okay, I need to really play it with a partner, and then it's like, what do I play it with, because this is my Simic deck, so I want to play Simic. So Kumena it is. The reason why I've put this back together is because Ixalan at end of the year, so might as well get playing it again, get a feel for it, so I know when the new cards come out at the end of the year, I know what's going to, fill the gaps and fill the voids and my weaknesses, I guess, if anything comes out that helps me do that. Plus, when all those cards come out, they should be fairly cheap unless there's some new crazy bonkers Merfolk. But yeah, I guess we'll start off with what you need to cast your spells, which is your lands. I've got, I think it's at 17 islands, and I've got 11 forests. This is just due to my colour pip separation. A lot of my creatures, as you see, are blue, so I want to make sure I'm casting those. Everything else is, a lot of stuff is double pipped, but even also a lot of the enchantments are blue as well. Same with my counter spells. And the two spells that I'm waiting for, which is Pungify and Rapid Hybridization, which are both blue spells. So this is why I have more blue than green mana. I also have, what's this? 7 non-basic lands. So those are my 4, I guess, 5 tap for any of the relevant colours, so blue and green. And then I have my 2 that tap for colourless reliquary, obviously for no maximum hand size, because this deck draws a lot of cards. Hoping it's going to draw a lot of cards. And this Khan's Bastion also for the proliferate, because if I can't get Kumena through with his unblockable thing for commander damage, I will be tapping all 5 Merfolks, putting counters on them, making my board state big, and then hopefully going a little bit wide and winning that way. So yeah, that's how I intend to win, is put counters on Kumena, make him unblockable, attack, then using basically all my Merfolk to support him, draw more cards, give him island walk, put more counters on him, things like that. So Kumena is essentially the engine and also the potential win con. I do have backup win cons in the forms of Simic Ascendancy, and I do have a Thassa's Oracle. But obviously the Thassa's Oracle requires me to get a few cards out, such as having a land which taps for double mana, either the Simic Growth Chamber or one that's enchanted, having Freed from the Wheel on Kiora's Follower, I believe his name is. Kiora's Follower. So you can start to do the tap on tap, make infinite mana, then use Thasios to go through your entire deck to then play Thassa's Oracle to win the game that way. So that's like a backup plan. Should come to a complete board state and I've been playing for an hour and I'm like, right, need to try and win this game. That's what I do then. But for the most part, smash face. Merfolk, smash face. That's what we like. So there's the lands. 35 lands in total. So 7, 5 of any colour, 2 colourless, 11 forests, 17 islands. That's the lands. Nice and simple. On top of the lands, so 35 lands, I then have, I think it's 6 artifact ramps. So I've got Sorrowing, Thought Vessel. By the way, if you guys proxy, this is something I do. I don't know if you guys can see this as a bit of a tip. But my actual Thought Vessel is in my Quasar deck. So I just put a post-it note down the side. So if I play it and people get upset, I'll obviously declare, or if I forget at the beginning of the game to say, oh, by the way, there's a proxy in here, it's a Thor vessel. If people panic and go, oh, I don't want to play with proxies, it's like, okay, just give me a minute, I'll go to my Quasar deck, I'll get it out, and I'll swap it over, yeah? Simple, easy peasy. But yeah, so in terms of artifact ramp, we have Soaring Thought Vessel, Arcane Signet, Simic Signet, Talisman of Curiosity, and I guess you can count Great Henge. I mean, it's not exactly ramp, but it does tap for mana. So mana artifacts I have like 6 of. The other 3 are... I'm not sure about the Icon of Ancestry. I'll probably ditch that at some point. It is essentially a Lord and allows me to look for a specific Merfolk, I guess, through the top if I'm trying to find something. And then the Ozolith is like, say, it's just backup for my counters should my whole board get wiped. So, because that's the main win strategy, is counters, smash face. So yeah, so I guess with the lands and the 6, let's say 5 artifact ramp, not counting Great Henge, that's the 40 mana sources. Okay. In terms of removal, I am quite removal light on this. So I told you I was waiting for Pungify and Rapid Hybridization, which were going in there. I do have a copy of them both in my Olero deck, but that's my baby. I don't want to take it apart. I then count counter spells as removal as well, because that's removal before it hits the board. So I always try, and if I've got a counter spell in hand, like, and I'm doing well on mana, and I don't need to tap out to get into a winning position, I will try and keep that mana up. But I guess that's something you learn and understand as when you're in those play states, the board states, of when you should tap out and just win more, and when you should go, I've got enough now to deal with people, and I'm doing my thing, I can just sit back with a counter in case anybody tries to win. So, that's why I have a lot of counter spells. I have specifically, you find the Cursed Idol, which is basically just like Nature's Claims. So destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, create a treasure token, Adventures of Dungle. That's completely pointless unless I need an extra mana on my next turn to try and get a win or something, and then obviously I can cast that the turn before, because obviously it's only sorcery speed. Other removal that I have is the Phasing of Zhalfir. I like this one as well because I can play it straight away and go turn 3 and just wipe things if I'm behind. Obviously if I've got that in hand, I'm going to purposely play to be behind, and just try and set up with ramp, things like that. If I've already set up, I will probably play this, maybe not necessarily protect my commander, but unless he's already died several times, then I probably will. But protect like two of my key pieces, and then destroy everything after that. Yeah. There's a lot of untapping synergies within this. So removal spells, what have I got? I've got about 7. So there's 3, 4, 5. That one there 6. Again, and the phasing 7. So it is quite removal light. But my plan is obviously to be attacking, so I will be taking out people's creatures and stuff like that via attacking. I have 34 creatures. 35 including my commander. So like I can treat some of them as like fair trades and stuff like that. Like not every creature needs to be protected. I only need this one, plus enough to give it counters, and once the counters on, I only need one to make it unblockable. Yeah, there we go. Ramp spells. So in addition to the 35 lands, the 5 artifacts, ramp spells I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ramp spells. Yeah, 3 of them are the highest costed ones at 3 mana. So none of the 4 mana ramp. This is because I have a lot of 4 mana creatures. I think my most expensive creature is 5. Tashana, 5 mana. Let's double check. Last one, yeah, these are all in CMC order, because I'm a bit anal like that. We see a lot of 1, 2s, 3s, quite a few 4s, yeah, and then 5 manas there. So yeah, Seaboard moves, untapping mechanics. So yeah, so I've not got loads of like 4 mana ramp, because I don't need it. So I feel with the 35 lands, the 5 artifacts, and then these guys, the 6 ramp cards, I feel like that's enough to get me going. Plus the fact that once I've got Kumena out, I only need to get 3 Merfolk to draw a card. So I can tap Kumena, so obviously then it's only 2 other Merfolk. Yeah, so that's quite good. I mean, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 1-costed creatures, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 2-costed creatures. So the odds of me drawing those pretty early on are pretty good. Yeah, speaking of odds, actually, lands, this is one thing I wanted to mention. So I've been doing a bit of Googling, and like when I used to play Standard, I used to always run 24 lands. Mainly because I used to play like a lot of Simic decks and green decks in Standard, and I knew that I needed 5 mana by turn 5. And so in a 60 card deck, I would run 24 lands because it was like a 60% chance that you would have 5 lands on turn 5. You know, and for most parts that meant you could do everything you needed to do. Obviously, if you was playing things like Growth Spiral and whatever ramp spell back in Standard, or Llanowar Elves and things like that, you could maybe drop one. But in Commander, it's slightly different. So for turn 5, if you need 5 mana on turn 5, you know, if you're running 38 lands, just lands, you know, that's a 40% chance of getting 5 mana on turn 5. So, I mean, Kumena is a 3 mana spell. So, like, with my 35 lands, I think I've got a 67% chance, something like that. Double check what it says here, 67.26. With the lands alone, of getting Kumena out turn 3, or having 3 lands. Obviously, I'm hoping with my split that will be enough. If you're Commander and you're playing Commanders and it's like 6 mana, 7 mana, you know, I think with my 35 lands, there is an 11% chance. Yeah, so, 35 lands, 11% chance on turn 7 I will have 7 lands out. You know, obviously, you then have to take into fact you've got ramp and stuff like that, so you will likely have more lands, or more mana available, I should say. But in terms of actual lands on those turns, I think it's always good to look at those numbers. Like, I have a Sir Gwyn deck. Sir Gwyn is my Voltron deck, and it revolves solely around getting Sir Gwyn out and putting equipment on it. So my first 5-6 turns is equipment. I'm playing my lands, I'm playing whatever equipment I need, so when Sir Gwyn comes out, I can attach them all to her, give her haste, give her a power boost, and swing straight away. So people don't have time to prepare. I don't want to be casting Sir Gwyn on turn 6 and then 3 turns later slowly accruing equipment. Cast the equipment first, then put it all in one and go. You know, swing for the win. You know, don't give them a chance to stop your plan. So with that, I know I need to run quite a lot of lands to make sure I'm hitting 6 lands by turn 6 to cast her on turn 6 with the equipment I've cast beforehand. So just something to think about is land percentages to draw rates and what you're going to get on what turn. Obviously, if you're wanting to get your commander out on turn 2 and he's a 5-costed commander, you know, you're going to be looking at Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, all of those things to boost your chances of casting that commander on turn 2 type of thing, which is a whole different board game of like CDH level type stuff, or at least very high, like 9-10 power level things. But yeah, that's roughly what it is. The creatures I have gone for, so obviously it adapts, so it gets counters. Then I've got the proliferate, so whenever it counters the opponent, I draw cards. So I'll loot, draw cards, discard. Mystical Hero just can't be blocked. That's it. Creature would enter battlefield. If it was cast, exile it. That's quite handy, like, you know, because it's a non-token creature would enter the battlefield. It doesn't matter if it was cast or cheated into play. You know, you can just sack this, or you try to cheat out a stupid Air Dragon. Sorry, mate. You know, it's just one of those things. Enter the battlefield. Target land becomes an island. Great for my island walk. Thrasios, everybody knows what Thrasios does. Just draw cards. Kiro's follower is just obviously the combo piece. Merfolk Mistbinder, just a good lord. Proliferate, puts counters on things. Has island walk, makes things cheaper. Steal people's artifacts. X comp 0, so it can be like 1. So for 3 mana, I can steal someone's Mana Vault, Mana Crypt if I'm playing against somebody who's got crazy power level. Or I could steal their Soul Ring. You know, this was quite a new Merfolk that came out. Was it Dominaria? Dominaria United? Not the remastered version. So yeah, once again, a lord, and you can sacrifice any Merfolk to counter a spell or non-creature spell unless controller pays 1, which is handy with Deep Root Waters. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, make a token, and make a 1/1 hexproof creature, Merfolk creature token. So you can sack your tokens to counter the spell unless they pay 1. If they're casting something big and tapping out, you can get them. If they're casting something big and they're leaving 2/3 mana up, you can sacrifice 3 Merfolks and eventually get them. Yeah, Kodai Selkie is just an unblockable. Varel, as I mentioned, I'm doing counter synergies, so I wanted to put counters on things. So Varel is where that's at. Same with Deep Root Elite. Yeah, Merfolk is a Lord, +1/+1, Island Walk. Same with Lord of Atlantis, except it doesn't give a... Oh yeah, all Merfolk gain Island Walk have +1/+1. Obviously, if that's as part of the backup plan win, I might drop it out of the deck. Because that's one of those cards as well that if people know you've got it in the deck, they could just target you and be spiteful. But yeah. Oh yeah, that's tap 7 Merfolk. So they're using the tokens you can create to counter spells. Yeah, once again, counter spells. Merfolks get +1/+1. Zagano comes in, draws cards, put counters on things. Whenever this comes tapped, draw a card. Great synergies with Kumena, so you tap this along with 2 other Merfolk to draw a card with Kumena. This is obviously also tapped in the process, and then that draws a card as well, so you draw 2. This is another great way of getting damage through. Creatures with +1/+1, can't be blocked. Elandra, which is a recent jumpstart card, just allows you to start getting tokens out. Once again, you can start sacrificing tokens. Sorry, you can't sacrifice these tokens to counter spells because these are the drakes, but it does cover the void of Merfolk not flying, because a lot of Merfolk don't fly. There is a card from Ravnica Allegiance, Skatewing Spy, something like that. I think it's about 4 mana, 3 in a blue, and creatures you control with +1/+1 counters have flying. So I'm tempted to like throw that in there just as a bit of synergy, so that the creatures can just like, oh, there we go, we're all flying now, so we can block air and land, which covers a lot of the problems with like Merfolk, because obviously it's all land and sea based stuff. Whenever deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, so lots of card draw synergies. Forerunner of the Heralds. When it enters, I can search for something. That's normally, if I'm going to tutor for a card, it's normally going to be Master of Pearl Trident or Lord of Atlantis, because I want the Island Walk, you know, I want the +1/+1. Sea Hunter is also a great way of searching for Merfolks as well. Merkfield Liege, yes. Not a Merfolk, is a horror, looks completely out of place in the deck thematically wise, but it's the untapped synergy. Untap all green and blue creatures you control during each other player's untap step. So that means I can finish my turn, have everything tapped out, draw as many cards as I can, or tap them all out, put counters on things, go to their turn, and then I untap everything on their untap step, and then on their end step, as long as I've not needed to defend or anything, then tap everything, more counters, which obviously, if I've got Simic Ascendancy out, if I do it, put 5 counters on something, that's 5 counters on him, do it on the next person's turn, that's 10 counters, next person's turn, that's 15 counters, on the third person's turn, I could have 20 counters on Simic Ascendancy in one round of the table, winning on my next upkeep. You know, kind of nice. But yeah, that's, yeah. And obviously C1 moves, untap all permanents, during each of the players on tap step. Obviously, if you get both of them out on the table, you can do that twice, holding priority. Yeah, Tiasto thoughts are plenty, because like I said, drawing lots of cards, so you can just get her nice big and swole and you know, push through some big damage. Obviously, Heroic Intervention is just a nice save everything in a desperation. Yeah, in all, I don't think it's too bad a deck. I used to play it a long time ago. Obviously, I've made a few changes and tweaks, so it'd be interesting to see how it does. So maybe I'll do a video after I played it next week. I'm hoping to play it on Tuesday night. It's coming, so yeah, I've got that, and I've got a Diner Hair deck that I've been building. I've got a few cards coming for both of them, so these two, and then for the Dino one. The Diner Hair one's quite an interesting deck. She's the she's Strixhaven, or is she? No, she might be Adventures of the Forgotten Realms, D&D one. And she's like Jeskai, 4 colours, 4 mana, yeah, colourless, white, blue, red, or I should say, what is it? Red, blue, white is the order. I can't remember just order colour. Yeah, and then for 4, she gives creatures abilities haste, but not the creature haste, which is quite interesting. And I've paired her up with, is it Kurda? Kurda, the little cat companion. I've never made a companion deck for Commander, so we'll see how that one turns out. So every permanent in my deck needs to have an activated ability for her to be my companion, or him to be my companion, the cat thing to be my companion. So yeah, maybe I'll do a deck tech on that one, see how that one goes. But I'm still waiting on like about 30 cards for that coming in. It's not an expensive deck. They'll, like a lot of the cards are like cents, because it requires you, whenever you pay 4 mana or more to activate an ability, you can tap Diner to copy it. And as you can imagine, a lot of the cool abilities that most people play are like the 2 mana ones or the 1 mana ones, you know, or sacrificing things, which Diner can't copy, and she can't copy mana abilities. So it's just activated abilities that are not mana abilities. But yeah, that's a whole nother spiel, board game, card game, yeah, deck, that's the word. But yeah, this is the deck, 35 lands, what was it, 6-7 ramp spells, 7 removal, bunch of enchantments, bunch of artifacts, and most of all, just a lot of Merfolk. Everything in here is to support the Merfolk, to enable the engine to do its thing, to get the win. If I was to give it a power level, I don't know, you tell me. What's the classic rule? It's a 7. God knows what it'd be classed as. I guess it all depends on what you're playing against. I mean, there's nothing fancy like in terms of like fetch lands or fast mana, so it's definitely not super powered. But you know, you get a good draw like any deck, and you know you can go off pretty easily and get it quite a scary board state. So if people don't pull a board wipe early, it can really be quite good for you, quite impressive for them, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to throw some temporary cards in here for Pongify and Rapid Hybridization, and I'm going to do some gold fishing and see what it feels like. So thank you very much for washing. Yeah, always wash, that is important. Make sure you do wash. But thank you also for watching. Hopefully you're not watching while you're washing, because your phone might get a bit damaged, or your computer, depending on what you're watching on. Anyway, that's the end of this video. See you all in the next one. Goodbye.